Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are diving deep into someone who really helped shape a whole era, Lysa Thatcher.
Yeah, definitely. Not just in the golden age of porn, the late 70s, early 80s, but someone whose whole image, her persona, kind of defined it in a way.
She cultivated this look, didn't she? That very successful, very specific Lolita look.
Made her a huge draw
Yeah,
right at the top. She really embodied, yeah, a key archetype of that time.
totally. But what really struck me looking through the sources is the contrast,
Mm,
between this massive on-screen fantasy she built and then this really complex and kind of fascinating off-screen life she was living.
right. And that's what we want to explore for you, the listener. We want to get past just the image, reconcile the persona with the actual cultural scene she was part of in San Francisco.
So where do we start? The basics, I guess. But even that's tricky here.
It really is. Biographical details for people from this era, especially in this industry, they can be slippery. Trying to pin down something simple like a birth date. Surprisingly tough.
Yeah, I saw that. Our sources, IMDb, YouTube, Wikipedia, some specialized bios, they're all over the place.
Exactly. One says January 1st, 1959. Another has November 30th, 1958.
And a third one gives November 26, 1959.
Right. It just shows, when someone's fame is built on performance, yeah, the official records sometimes get messy or maybe deliberately obscured.
Could be. But, okay, some things are consistent. Her birth name, Lysa R. Adams.
Yep. Born in Redwood City, California. Petite, blonde, green eyes, Caucasian.
And she used aliases. Lysa Thatcher, obviously, but also Lanky Fletcher and Sandy West.
Those aliases are interesting, but it was Lysa Thatcher and that iconic look that launched her.
Let's talk about that look. Small frame, blonde, sort of cute. The sources keep using the term nymphet.
They do. And apparently, her appearance made her look a lot younger than she actually was. That fueled a specific kind of demand, didn't it?
It absolutely dictated the roles she got, often playing these, naive schoolgirls, right? Freshmen, maybe?
Yeah, characters who needed an older man figure to sort of guide them into exploring their sexuality. It's a very classic genre trope.
And she was apparently the best at it for a while. The sources call her the undisputed queen of young girls in porn.
But crucially, they also note she was a good actress. She brought skill and passion to these very specific roles.
That's key, isn't it? Because it wasn't just about the look. Her acting ability helps explain why some of these films are still talked about, still considered classics.
It does. And, the golden age,
Yeah.
it wasn't always just low-budget stuff. There were real attempts at story, at higher production values.
And Thatcher was in demand for those bigger projects because she could actually act. She could anchor them.
Which brings us to her career scope.
Yep.
It was, well, incredibly intense, but short.
Just 5 years, really. Active from 1979 to 1984. But in that time, 109 films. Wow.
109. And think about who she works for. VCA Pictures, VCX, Caballero, Western Visuals, Alpha Blue.
Basically everyone who mattered at the time, the major studios.
Exactly. And working for all those top-tier companies back then, that meant you were operating at the highest level the industry offered. It showed quality, professionalism.
Yeah, she wasn't just busy, she was consistently working with the best. That context is really important. So while, yeah, some titles definitely fit that niche, we talked about High School Memories, Budding Blondes, things like that.
Right.
We really need to look at some specific films that show the artistic effort involved.
Okay, good idea. Where should we start? Maybe Code Fever?
Yeah.
From 1980.
Yeah, that one seems to fit her typical role pretty well, right? The naive freshman college life.
It does. Noted for a strong ensemble cast, too, but yeah, it really highlights her market dominance in that specific character type.
Okay, but then things get more interesting. Jump forward just 1 year. 1981, Neon Nights.
Ah, yes. Neon Nights. Now that one's different.
Totally different. The sources call it a true classic, an offbeat, well-filmed thriller.
And her role, she plays a young woman, has this vivid fantasy life, but then she has this really disappointing experience with her mother's boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly. And that triggers the plot. She runs away.
Runs away to New York City, right. Seeking adventure in this sort of mysterious and unforgiving city.
It sounds like an actual story, like with character development, which feels pretty ambitious for the time and genre.
It really stood out. The plot wasn't just an excuse. It drove the film. It had a real character arc for her. That definitely elevated it.
Okay, but if we're talking ambition in the golden age, we have to talk about the satisfiers of Alpha Blue.
Oh, absolutely. Also 1981. Directed by Gerard Damiano, a legend.
And universally called an undisputed classic.
No question. And the budget. That's the thing that always gets me.
I know, I saw that figure, over $250,000.
For an adult film in 1981, that's huge.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a quick shoot. It was a major production.
What does that kind of money buy you back then in this?
Well, it buys you proper set design, costumes, maybe location shooting. But crucially, it buys you the scope for a more complex narrative.
Yeah.
And Alpha Blue definitely had that.
The sources said it engaged with philosophical ideas. Seriously.
Yeah, seriously. It's set in this futuristic society, sort of dystopian. Pleasures, emotions, they're all controlled, commodified by the state.
Wow. Okay.
And the story follows a character questioning this whole system. That kind of social commentary, that ambition. That's why it's considered upper echelon.
And Thatcher was right in the middle of these high-concept projects.
She was. It shows she was working with people who were aiming for something more than just, basic titillation. They were trying to make something closer to art, maybe.
It's an incredible legacy to build in just 5 years. She retires in 1984.
Right. A short, intense burst. But it clearly made a lasting mark.
And then decades later, 2008, she gets inducted into the XRCO Hall of Fame. That really cements it, doesn't it?
It does. Kind of the final validation of that intense period.
Which kind of naturally leads us away from the screen, from the films.
And into her private life, which, as you said earlier, offers this really surprising contrast.
Yeah, her personal life connects her right to the industry's power structures. She married Jim Mitchell,
co-owner of the O'Farrell Theater in San Francisco. A huge name.
And they stayed married for a long time, right? Until he died in 2007.
Decades. They had a daughter together, too, Jennifer Sky Mitchell. In an industry known for being pretty chaotic, that kind of stability is, well, it's remarkable.
It really is. The O'Farrell link is significant, definitely. But if we rewind back to the start of her career, late 70s San Francisco, that's where things get really wild, socially speaking.
The PK Street house, yes.
This wasn't just some apartment share, was it?
Not at all. The sources describe it as a social epicenter, a hub for creative personalities.
Ground zero for the crossover between the adult film world and the San Francisco art scene that was exploding then.
And think about who lived there. She was sharing this space with people like Serena.
Another performer. Right.
Yeah, and Serena's young daughter, Ella, and the legendary Jamie Gillis.
Jamie Gillis lived there too. Wow.
And an artist named Ray Morgan. I mean, can you imagine the energy in that house?
It sounds intense. Morgan apparently described it as constant little pieces of performance art.
Yeah.
Just nonstop creativity, maybe chaos.
Definitely chaotic, I'd imagine. Bohemian, avant-garde, a perpetual happening, maybe.
It really captures that specific moment in San Francisco culture, doesn't it?
Perfectly. But here's the twist, the real irony. When you dig into her biography,
Go on.
Lysa Thatcher, the on-screen Lolita, the naive character, she was actually the one holding it all together in that house.
She was the stabilizer, the domestic center.
Exactly. While others, like Serena or Gillis, were maybe getting caught up in the, the artistic chaos and spontaneity, Thatcher was apparently playing a crucial role in maintaining the household.
So like doing the practical stuff, keeping things running.
Yeah. She's described not just as a performer, but as a capable, sensitive woman who enjoyed helping to raise Serena's daughter.
That's fascinating. So she's living in this creative whirlwind, maybe participating in the performance art. But she's also the one making sure things don't completely fall apart, providing stability, especially for the child.
That oscillation, that duality, that's what makes her story so compelling, I think. She's the nymphette on screen and the responsible caregiver off screen, handling the schedule, the chores, probably, amidst all that artistic ferment.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this for you, the listener. We started with Lysa Thatcher, right? The icon.
The perfectly cast petite blonde defined that golden age look. Starred in these surprisingly ambitious, high-budget films like The Satisfiers of Alpha Blue.
With its philosophical themes,
Right. And we end up with Lisa R. Adams, the capable, stable, supportive woman.
Raising a child in this incredibly chaotic artists collective, anchoring the household, married to a major theater owner.
It's just a perfect example of how the professional image, the persona, could be miles away from the actual person and their, grounded, complicated reality.
Her story really gives us a critical window into that whole golden age era, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It shows it wasn't just about selling fantasies. It was also about the real lives behind them. Lives that could be vibrant, nurturing, and surprisingly domestic, even right in the heart of the counterculture.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with. Think about that contrast.
Yeah, that sharp difference On one hand, you have these highly manufactured, commodified fantasies, like the runaway adventure in Neon Nights, right? Designed for a thrill.
Ephemeral, maybe.
Possibly. And yet, the people bringing those fantasies to life, they are often forging these deep, real, supportive, almost familial bonds behind the scenes.
Like in the PK Street house. So the question to chew on is, how much did those private roles, the supportive friend, the caregiver, the person keeping the house running, how much did that reality contradict the fantasy?
Or maybe, did it secretly inform it somehow? That tension between the manufactured image and the complex human being behind it? Maybe that's the real lasting story of the Golden Age, that human element.